What's going on, guilty guys and gals? Welcome back to DRA. We are going to resume trial. Here we go. Akane, among us! Among us! Akane, among us! What a great way to start out. The word made, it can only refer to... Rather, it can't refer to anyone but you. Akane? That's... It really is her. You killed Kizuna?
Now, wait a minute. There must be some misunderstanding. I mean, something like this.
Is fear purple? I guess.
This is too much. Please, wait a minute, everyone. I have nothing. I didn't do anything.
The dying message was written by a person. The Lord does not lie. As long as the dying message refers to the word made, it has already been revealed.
Was it? Was it a lie at the beginning of the trial to cover up her crime?
No.
Akane, tell me with your own words. Are you really the culprit?
Me? I'm not the killer.
Akane?
Why am I the culprit? The dying message said the word made, but there's a big X next to it. You guys have only interpreted the made part. You didn't interpret the X at all. The X could literally be an X. Doesn't that mean negative? In other words, it means not the made. So I'm not the culprit.
I don't know yet if what you just said is true, but certainly we haven't fully decoded the dying message yet. Got it.
Alright, the X at the end.
Well, if you just, look at it, it really looks like it says not the maid, but... If the dying message means not the maid, as Akane says, I would be rather more suspicious of her.
Huh? Why?
Don't you think so? Who is the killer? I don't recall seeing message saying, who is not the killer. It seems illogical to write an innocent word in blood instead of your own killer. Rather, you would think it is not the maid. Would be written by the killer to take themselves off the suspect list.
Hey, doesn't that mean the culprit themselves wrote the dying message?
That's right. There's no law saying dying messages are all true. They could show up in all sorts of ways. For example, the killer, they could manipulate the dying message to lead themselves to an advantage in the trial.
Yeah, made X as it is. It means the only one who would benefit from a writing like that is... from a writing like that would be the maid herself, Akane.
Whether the interpretation of the dying message is this or that, there is no way to avoid the word made.
Akane, you really are...
Is Akane really the culprit? Can we conclude the case like this? But what is this feeling? Is my heart screaming?
Wow, you should get that checked out.
I feel like all of this, it feels so contradictory. Is it really okay to end with Kane being the culprit?
Can I vote now? It'd be painful to do any more. It'll just be... I just want to end this now.
Wait. Mikako? Obviously, it's true Akane is suspicious. Clearly the way she acted is questionable. However, there's a problem yet to be solved.
But, an unsolved problem?
Like she said, it's too soon to end it. There must be a cause for this unpleasant feeling. Yeah, a secret that hasn't been revealed yet.
Alright, we'll see if I make it through the whole trial. Or, like, the whole rest of it. I don't know how long it is. It's already kind of late, so I don't want to, like, go forever, but we'll see. We'll see. I wish I could, like, save state, but obviously not. Alright.
An unsolved problem. I do not know.
Well, what's the point? The dying message is all solved, so what else is there?
The secret of the window is done with. Maybe that makes more grammatical sense.
The jewel procurement problem has also been solved.
Wait a minute. Was there anything left remaining, as Mikako says?
Only for murder. That's all you're thinking about. Don't you think about things used other than the murder?
Something other than the murder?
What problem is more important than the murder?
So I think it's the third flashlight. It's got a little hint there because it's the different text, but
Mikako's words have a hint hidden in them. Clearly so far, I've been confused about the dying message and the crime situation, but I've been rushing so far that I've missed something really important. A fact that we must have missed. What we've solved so far in this case, what are we missing?
So we're doing an agree with the third flashlight, I think. It could be the cloth too, because we haven't really explained that. But that is to do with the murder, so. Oh goodness, sticky keys. I switched bullets too much. The secret of the window is finished. If not for the third flashlight being highlighted, I might have hit the cloth, because I don't think we've really talked about it yet. But to be fair, that does have something to do with the murder. Oh, that's not it. Okay. Then it might be the cloth after all. There are 3 flashlights though, right? I don't know. The flashlights and the cloth have basically the same amount of stuff to do with the murder. An unsolved problem? Maybe it's the Akane's leg. Oh, sticky keys again. Can I actually use these to go? No, I can't. This controls the thing. Maybe it's this. I'm going to try this actually, because this is not to do with the murder, technically. It's like the only thing we have that isn't, so. Da-da-da-dow-dee-dow-dee-dow. Shoot, shoot, shoot! There we go, okay. I was hitting the B button instead of the A button. Well, we'll say the X button instead of the Z button in reality, but, you know.
Yeah, right, that's it!
Did you find something, Yuki?
Guys, I think it's still early to call Akane the culprit.
What? What do you mean? You're the one who said the dying message had the word "made" in it in the first place.
About that, I still don't know the answer for sure. Thanks to Mikako, I thought of something else. Right after the incident, Ayame's injury.
Of course. Now the trial's coming to an end, so her condition is worsening. We'll have to get that in order right away.
Why was Ayame injured? Just think about it.
Why did she get hurt? You saw it yourself. She was hurt by a wire trap on the leg.
Think about it more. Who installed the wire trap? When was it put in place?
I mean, the killer clearly must have installed it.
That's it. In other words, your opinion is that the suspected killer, meaning Akane, installed that wire trap, right?
Now wait a second. I never installed anything like that. Why would I aim to hurt Ayame?
That doesn't really mean you couldn't have done it, though.
Wait a minute. Akane installed the wire trap. The wire trap is there, but
When was it installed?
When was the wire installed? I don't know exactly what's on... What? I don't know exactly when, but I can guess because I was there when Ayame was injured. Ayame was trying to grab something at that time. The wire was installed along the way to serve as bait. Serve as a trap for it. The bait was the thing, yeah? Okay. Then the wire must have been installed as soon as the object was placed. And that object wasn't there, at least until that point. So then, when was the wire trap installed?
After we started investigating.
When the wire was installed, it was probably immediately after starting the investigation. At least I believe so.
Is there a good reason for that opinion?
The wire is sort of invisible, so the exact installation time of the wire itself is unknown, but by including the other elements, it can be inferred. Actually, Ayame wasn't just hurt. When she was injured, I was right next to her, but she was injured by that wire while she was approaching to find and investigate some kind of object. That's when she got caught in that trap. Ayame, do you remember?
Perhaps you're referring to that burnt flashlight.
Yeah, there was no such thing in the corner when I found the body with everyone in the power room, but it was there after the investigation started.
In other words, the killer used the flashlight as bait to induce someone to get caught in that wire trap. If so...
They set the flashlight and installed the wire at the same time, immediately after the investigation began. That is the approximate time of installation.
Yeah, it's right after the start of the investigation, right? The wire was installed shortly after the investigation began.
Kakeru?
It's strange. It's kind of weird. Weird. Is it not weird?
Why are you suddenly yelling?
Everyone open your ears and listen. If Akane is the culprit, it means Akane installed the wire right after the investigation started, right? But that's impossible! Why, you ask? It's because Akane was with me!
You were with Akane? Surely. Then there's a relationship?
Can you stop talking like that? Don't joke at a time like this.
Huh? Does that mean...
I know this exactly, because Akane was in the same place I was. We didn't do anything.
What? How can you say you didn't do anything so proudly?
Not that. What I mean is, well, I was gonna do some investigating, but I seldom make progress, so... Anyway, that was important. It's Akane's story. I swear to you, she's been stuck in one spot since everyone gathered in the power room until the trial announcement came on.
What? Are you for real?
Apart from everything else, there was only one spot that was inefficient. Even if you did just a little investigation, I want to hear why. Why didn't you mention this before, Akane?
No, it was just shocking that Kazuna died.
Did any of us do that? Even so, everyone participated in the investigation, so that's not much of a reason.
It doesn't really matter. What's important and more important than that now is Akane didn't do anything at the time of the investigation, meaning she couldn't have installed the wire, right?
Yeah, that's why I said it's weird.
Then Akane is not the killer? I mean, I've been trying to say that from the very beginning.
But what? But the dying message said maid. Are we really wrong with the interpretation? It's not just that. She lied. She's still a suspect no matter how we end up. But when that happens, you can't explain the wire trap.
What's going on? I think my head's getting all twisted up. Can't we stop this already?
If you want to die, go ahead. I won't stop you.
It's definitely weird. Apart from being simply contradictory, logically it's playing itself separately, as if several incidents seem to be coming together for one event. Why? What's missing? It's as if the contradictions don't stop with concluding that Akane's the culprit. There doesn't seem to be any different direction in the case. What is the truth of this case?
If Akane isn't the culprit, then what we've been doing so far, you mean it's all good for nothing? But if that's the case, then who is the culprit? Who can we vote for?
I can't keep going. We keep hitting dead ends. Even in the midst of this, Ayame's leg injury is just getting worse.
Well, I'll say this. Other than Akane, is there not anyone else who's suspicious? Who's that? Mikako!
What? Why Mikako?
Well, I don't understand it because of the dying message and the whole wire thing, but Mikako suddenly disappeared when we were investigating. Isn't she suspicious to anybody else?
Looking at it, the broadcast announcing the start of the class trial rang, but when we gathered, Monokuma had to bring her here.
Didn't Tsurugi mention this? He said that he had main suspects in mind. If Akane, who's been attracting attention as a high-level suspect, isn't the culprit, well then the other suspect, Mikako, who's the next most suspicious person, naturally we'd have to look to her, right?
Wait a second. It is true that Mikako was late, but what disappeared during the investigation was investigated by Mikako in her own way. It was Mikako's discovery that the kitchen knife was actually disappearing from the kitchen.
But even if she was investigating, why arrive late? I was curious from the start of the trial, and I'd like to know her reasoning, even if she isn't the culprit.
Mikako, you're not a killer, right?
Please answer us! Don't be so uneasy! You're making me uneasy!
It's probably closer. Don't be so unnerving, actually. There we go. Hold on, I actually have to blow my nose. Doing Kakeru's voice is not great for that. Alright, there we go.
I'm not the culprit. The reason for being late, I can't tell you now. After the trial, I'll tell you why.
If it was for a good reason, isn't there no reason to hide it? Why can't you just tell us? The more you hide it, the more suspicious we get.
I'm sorry, but
Well, that's a new face. She's like biting her lip.
trust me, I'm not the killer.
Regardless of the reason, isn't it a little too much to say that Mikako's the culprit? She doesn't seem to have anything to do with the dying message. It would have been possible to install the wire for her, however.
But there's no other way. This is impossible. She's impossible. It's all possibilities again. Who's the killer then? Even if it's a ghost, it's just impossible.
You really are fools without easy answers. Shouldn't you be more aware?
Huh? What are you talking about?
What? I mean to the truth of the case. I told you, didn't I? I said I wouldn't help you people, but once it's a trial where my life is at stake, if there's no answer, I'll solve it. So in other words, you idiots have no answer to the extent that I have to come to your rescue.
Damn it! Ray is destroying us!
Ray's attitude is sarcastic, but if she knows something, she could give us a clue about the situation that we can't figure out ourselves.
When you look at the goals for your reasoning, I can see how tiny your brains are. To put it simply, you're fools trying to solve the same solution without thinking of any other method. Without thinking of any other method or any other problem to be solved.
Thank you for your kind summary description. But you, what do you know yourself?
If the same method doesn't work, you should know how to challenge it using a new method. Understood, child? Child, because she's a teacher. Ha, ha. But what do you mean, new method?
It means throwing away stereotypes.
Oh my, when you're so quiet, but you finally open your mouth, psycho policeman. Is it not a problem if the best young police officer in Japan gets slower answers to a crime than an average school teacher?
Doesn't matter now, but I guess it's all a competition for you, huh? Let's just say it's not. There's nothing to be gained from your charade.
There's something, sparking between you two. But what do you mean? Stereotypes. To throw them away. Did you both find something out?
I'll apologize first. When the trial happened, I was about to be overthrown by the killer because of this simple misinterpretation of the case. But I deserved it. I was guessing to some extent, but I didn't think this case would be so twisted.
It was twisted.
It's natural to say you guys made it public. This case is simple. There's a criminal, and the criminal killed the victim. If you try to solve it that way, there'll always be contradictions.
Then, wait a minute. Is this not a murder case?
No, it is murder. It's clearly malevolent. But, do you recall what I mentioned earlier? An ordinary murder case would be difficult to solve if you think of it as a simple step-by-step scenario. While investigating before the trial, I guessed the outline of the case, but at that point, I couldn't confirm this either. However, as the trial progressed, Akane's reactions and the dying message being solved, I reached a truth. To be precise, the riddle's been solved so far is one derived from a clue, but... What's the truth, man? To put it simply, this crime is not a case where there's one culprit and one victim.
What? Not one culprit? Not one victim? So you mean there was an accomplice?
But didn't Monokuma say accomplices had no advantage?
No. It's a bit ambiguous to call this person an accomplice. But what is certain is that a third party, someone other than the criminal, was clearly involved.
A third party? Who was it?
You, Akane. Akane was the third party. Is that different from the culprit or an accomplice? For starters, I'd like to see it that way. As you guys said, if you're the criminal, you have to install the Wiretrap, but Akane herself couldn't afford the time to do it because of Kakeru. He was watching Tyra stand still during that time.
Then Akane no longer needs to be questioned, right? Oh no, wait a minute. I'm really sorry, but I still don't get it. If Akane isn't the culprit, then I don't know why the dying message points to her, and why she would lie to us.
That's what I told you. Akane's a third party in this case.
What? She's not the culprit. It's different from an accomplice, but it's obviously a third party who was heavily involved. Maybe she's not even aware of it herself. The woman's personality of showing her heart on her sleeve. It's proof that the maid lied and wrote the dying message, lying to all of us here.
Cool. Seems by your facial expressions you don't understand. So, before discussing the real criminal, let's begin with a question about that.
Oh, okay. Secret note, later, Wiretrap, third flashlight. Alright.
Akane isn't just a suspect, she's a third party.
Oh, I'm still not sure what that means. According to your reasoning, at a first glance, Akane Taira looks like the culprit. But for Akane Taira to put the Wiretrap in place isn't possible. There's your contradiction. In fact, it's okay to say that your reasoning in return is the correct answer.
A rookie mistake! Someone clean this up for me! Clean up this mess!
Oh, I see. In the first place, being a third party, doesn't that mean there is a third person besides the criminal and the victim? 3 or more people were involved in the crime. Is there any evidence to prove this?
I mean the third flashlight, right?
Tsurugi said Akane wasn't the culprit of this case, but instead a third party. He wouldn't say that for no reason. It must be true that it is true that Akane is suspicious, but we should think about it again. If Akane is a third party, that means 3 people were involved in the case, including the killer and the victim. What clue did Tsurugi notice to make him think 3 people were involved?
And it's on the last one again, so I just kind of have to sit and wait. Bum, bum. Actually, while this is happening, I want to blow my nose again. Done and done. Alright. Hit me with it.
Sorewa. No, that's wrong. No, Kinji, wait! There is evidence of 3 people being involved in this crime.
What would that be?
A flashlight, of course. There was one more flashlight.
What do you mean there was one more? What do you mean, what do you mean? You were the one who... Okay, whatever.
Ayame, that flashlight you were trying to pick up.
Oh, that's why Ayame injured her leg on that wire. She was after that flashlight, right?
But what does it mean when you say there was one more? I think there were some people who haven't seen it, so let me inform you. In the control room, there were 2 broken flashlights. By the way, Yuki, other than those 2, this 3rd flashlight.
On the day the 2nd floor was open, everyone saw it while investigating, right? It's a dark place the switch room's a dark place that doesn't light up. Without a flashlight, you wouldn't be able to see anything. And the fact that Kizuna died in there would have... The fact that Kizuna died in there would mean she was inside the switch room, and in that case, she must have brought a flashlight to see. So, one of the 3 flashlights would have been the one Kizuna brought. And, if you don't see anything, murder isn't possible. It means the culprit killed Kizuna inside the switch room, and that the culprit also took a flashlight. So the 2nd flashlight was brought then by the killer.
Huh? Hey, wait a minute. Who is the owner of the 3rd flashlight?
That's right. Yuki, you explained it quite well. The switch room is not a known place, and there's nothing visible inside in the darkness, so naturally you'd expect anyone going inside to carry a flashlight to go there. Even when I went, I would need a flashlight back once I'm done with my business. There's no reason to leave it behind. Wasn't this the aftermath of a struggle between the criminal and Kizuna?
One moment. Isn't that just by reasoning alone? Unless there's 0% chance that someone forgot it and left it in the past, it wouldn't be clear evidence.
No, Kinji, there is evidence that all 3 flashlights were involved in this incident. Like Tsurugi said, 2 flashlights were broken, and the last one, it was burnt.
That's right. It's a flashlight before it got caught in the fire. That's the flashlight that was at the scene.
Now you realize. Is there a fool who still doesn't understand out there? According to your inference, the fact that the case involved 3 people was the adequate basis of it. Drink. There we go.
I had no idea.
You must not have known. Probably the killer was trying to use you, Akane.
Really? What does that mean?
We've come this far, so I wonder if it's okay to just reveal it. I called Akane a third party, but that doesn't mean that she simply witnessed or helped the killer.
What is it then?
How Akane was involved in this incident. By this time, you might have noticed. She's not the culprit, but the executioner. Is it appropriate to call it like this? What's an executor? No way that fits Akane stabbing Kazuna. So I guess she didn't do it? That's right. There's a criminal who killed her.
I killed her breath?
The criminal who killed her outright with a critical hit. It was probably Akane who made Kazuna mortally wounded.
Or moribund, I don't know what that word means. I guess going to die for sure.
Terminally dead.
What?
That's a lie. Akane did. Tsurugi, wait a minute.
Hey, don't you get what I'm talking about? Akane Taira, you're also a criminal who committed attempted murder. You bloody bitch!
Okay.
What?
No, wait a second. What's going on all of a sudden? Akane is an executioner?
What's wrong, Haruhiko? You said you couldn't admit that Akane wasn't the culprit.
No. Rather than being able to admit it, why would she... Yes, I don't know what it means that there's another criminal who inflicted a critical wound, even though she was the executioner in the first place, and I can't believe that Akane did this. If you dishonor her without compelling reason, I will not forgive you.
That's right. Akane is... She would never do something like that.
It's starting again. Oh, didn't people say that they can't know just by looking? All of you think Akane Taira is not one who could do it. But after all, it seems you just didn't know enough about her.
But she... Why don't you tell me why would Akane stab Kazuna at the verge of her death?
How did that happen? Well, you already let that go, didn't you? We let her go? You don't mean...
Yes, the evidence that Akane Taira personally injured Kazuna Tomori is exactly what you'd expect. A dying message pointing to the maid. Akane Taira's suspicious lie. But then why isn't she the culprit of this direct murder? That was also solved by you. Simple, isn't it? The woman didn't have time to install that wire.
What? It looks like everyone's looking at me like you don't understand. I'm sorry, but besides this, there's evidence that Akane Taira committed a murder attempt.
Well, what is this evidence?
No, Tsurugi's right. There's evidence I can think of.
Yuki, even you?
Why? I'd love to think that. I'd love to think Akane is innocent, but what Tsurugi's saying is true. I think I knew it the whole time. If you look at the scene of the incident, there were traces of others who couldn't exist. That trace was probably left by Akane. According to the images in my memory, there's one definitive clue.
Spot selection. Sure. Images or photos in your memory will begin to appear. Look for the places that contain the answer of the current topic. I'm gonna cough. Again, good. The mythos is simple. Okay. You could just say method. A photo or pictures that fit the current topic appear. Focus your reticle in the place where the answer is. Select it with the decision key. However, if you've chosen a place other than the one that gives the correct answer, in this case, you'll lose speech power and start again. Good luck, have fun. Influence gauge. Oh, cool. I mean, it's the blood near the door, right? Oh, I think I know. Oh my, I think I just figured it out. I said before, don't disrupt the status quo. But what if this injury didn't come from the wire? It came from Kazuna. And Ayame had to set up this Wiretrap in order to have a reason for getting treatment for this injury, which she was bleeding out from. That's why there's blood near the door, even though Kazuna died in the middle of the room. I have to blow my nose again. Where's the ultimate DNA analyst when you need them, right?
Remember what we discussed earlier about why the killer started the fire?
The fire was used to heat the glass window and break it remotely, and to make us think the killer was inside the switch room and smashed the glass to escape, right?
Yeah, and in fact, we almost got caught in that trap and it confused our reasoning.
Now we're talking about why Akane is involved in the case.
Think carefully. If the killer's purpose was to make us think they broke the glass, why is there bloody spots at the entrance?
Oh, bloodstain at the entrance?
Is that so? A bloodstain like someone walked right out of the switch room. That's evidence from a third party that's different from the criminal's intention.
Was it from, like, a struggle? Maybe it's just Kazuna's blood.
If Kazuna went outside of the switch room while bleeding, the power room outside should have been filled with bloody spots, don't you think?
Does that mean the blood spot was after coming out of the switch room because it was dark then?
There were 2 broken flashlights inside the switch room. If they were broken during a struggle, you wouldn't know that blood would splatter in the dark after you stabbed Kazuna.
Well, then the blood traces come from Akane?
Wait a minute. After the killer attacked Kazuna, they could have set off the fire after walking out towards the entrance without knowing the blood was on it, right? In this way, there's no room for Akane to intervene.
Kanata, I'm sorry, but that is also impossible. The one who killed Kazuna definitively probably didn't get a splash of blood on their body at all.
Okay, now we get to talk about the sheet. That tool was... da 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 da.
Actually, there's a piece of cloth covered in blood in the corner of the switch room.
Oh, that's a lot of blood! This is...
Right. Anyone planning a murder must have been concerned about getting the blood on them. Probably...
What?
Probably they used it on Kazuna without a drop of blood getting on their own body.
If the real culprit uses it for murdering Kazuna, there's no reason for a blood smear to be at the entrance.
What? Then she really... Are you saying Akane stabbed Kazuna?
I can't believe it. Why did Akane do that? Akane, no matter what you did in the end, there is a real criminal who directly killed Kazuna other than you. You're not treated as the real criminal in this trial, so if you admit to the crime, you wouldn't be executed. Tell me with your own words, did you really do it? And why?
I'm sorry.
Sorry? You're sorry? So then, it's really true?
You guys are right. I'm the one. I stabbed Kazuna.
What?
I'm not particularly sympathetic, but I am curious. Why did you do that?
Kazuna. No, Kazuna Tamori. Because she was a human being who had no choice but to die. What are you talking about? It was Akane herself. It was you who must defended her, didn't you? I'm sorry. It's just, in case I was found out, I made an excuse and got scared.
That must have been it. Actually, you seem to believe that you were the real culprit this whole time.
But I want you to believe in this. I never decided to kill and stab Kazuna.
What does that mean? You didn't stab with murder intention, but after that remark you seem to despise her still.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Let me give you the full explanation. I'm not sure about Ray and Kinji. No. I'm not sure that Ray and Kinji know this, but the day after the motives came out, we all went to persuade Kazuna to join us. And actually, Kazuna, in her loneliness, she tried to convince herself to do so because she knew deep down, we all finally opened our hearts to Kizuna, and we hugged. I finally thought that we became true friends. But that evening, Kizuna had something to talk about, and she called me to the switch room, so I grabbed a flashlight and went up there. Kizuna, are you here? Right here,
What was her voice? I don't even remember. I think for like the first episode I did like the
right here, Kizuna.
but I think it evolved from that, but
we'll go back to this, I guess. Right here, Akane. Kizuna, I know you wanted to talk about something, but why in such a dark place? Yeah, no one come around here, right? Oh, no, I don't think so. So, what did you want to talk about? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm a little scared. What? Scared? Why? You know, the motives given by Monokuma, remember? Our secrets are written in there. Seems like you all just threw yours away, but I got a clue who I stumbled upon in the trash. Someone's secret. Do you want to see? Just look at it.
Look at it by flashlight.
What is this? Yuki may actually know the identity of the mastermind.
What?
Oh, the doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. This is like the Void theme song in the second game. I guess it makes sense it's playing right now.
Yuki, is that true?
No, I'm just a normal student.
You're not lying, right? You're not actually playing around with us. Well, you know the mastermind all the time, do you? Or are you?
Stop it. Now's not the time to reproach each other.
Yeah, the message might be surprising, but it's urgent we hear Akane's testimony. Akane, resume at once.
Okay. I can't trust Yukun as long as I've seen that. It's not just that. Knowing the mastermind. They might try to use us and kill us later. No! Yuki wouldn't do that! Ugh. You don't know people by just looking at them. Mitsuhiro just did the same thing. Remember? Then what? What do you want to do? Even if we tell the others? No, that's not what's going on. Then we can kill him with our own hands. What? The reason I called you is actually that. Aren't you close to him? Wouldn't you be able to take him out? Do you know what you're saying? Listen, I have a good idea. If you can only just help me, we can kill Yukun without being noticed by anyone. First of all, I brought some preparations. This fuse, a lighter, and finally this knife. Once you pick up Yuki and call him somewhere, I'll stab him with the knife. I'm not talking to you about that. I asked if you were serious. If you'll kill, you'll die in the trial. That's when the killer is stupidly caught. Did you forget that the only way to get out of here is to murder someone? So first help me. If my murder is successful, I'll help you. What do you think? Let's get out of here together. Are you crazy? Why would I want to murder? What? Don't you want to get out of here? I want to get out, but doing it at the expense of someone's life. That's it then. I'm the only one who wants to go outside more than anyone else, huh? I'm not a human being who's going to rot in this place. Why should I? A bright future awaits me once I get out of here. Actually, I got everything ready after those 2 days from the previous class trial. I also brought these tools early in today. I'm gonna kill this traitor. I'd feel a lot less guilty to kill a bad guy, wouldn't you? You better think and join me here then. What are you saying? Being prepared for murder since the second day? Then you didn't open up to us. Oh my god, you stupid bitch. Of course I was acting. Do you think I'm gonna go and fall for that crappy event? I can't. Alright, so you just do what I tell you to do. Know that you were lucky that I chose you, and bring Yuki here by tomorrow morning. No! I hate you! Why should I help a murderer? And I can't believe that Yuki is such an evil person. It's obviously Monokuma's lie. Anyway, I'd never help you. And Kazuna, just wake up and don't do this. Stay with us. I'm sure we can find a way. Oh, okay. You... What? Well, I didn't expect you to cooperate from the start with the murder, but because you didn't, I guess I'll just have to change my target like I thought. What do you...
Yeah, Well, that was close.
Hey, Kizuna! You dodged it? Why are you doing this? Kizuna! Why are you asking? Why are you asking? I'm trying to kill you! Kizuna! You already knew I was going to kill, remember? Now I can't keep you alive. It's a pity that I can't kill Yuki Maeda, but it doesn't matter if I get out of here. Ah! Someone save me!
Well,
Is that true? Kizuna tried to kill Akane first. Even so, before the motives came out, she'd already made up her mind to kill someone? And all the nice appearances she showed us, it was just an act?
Yeah, Kizuna Tomori was that kind of person.
So, you felt in danger for your own life and attacked Tomori in self-defense.
No, that's not right. Listen, I didn't really intend to stab her in self-defense or anything. Then why did you?
Kizuna ran to kill you. What happened then?
I noticed Kizuna was serious, and I got scared, so I tried to run for it. Then I was pushed down by Kizuna and fell over. I tried to resist somehow, and the flashlights we were holding broke on each other.
That was when the two broken flashlights were broken and left in the switch room.
I couldn't see anything because the flashlight was broken, and I was right next to Kizuna with the knife. I was so scared. I tried to resist with everything I had. Honestly, I think it was pure luck that I didn't get hit by that knife. But, by the way, suddenly Kizuna, at one point she got really quiet. That's when I took my chance to get out of the switch room.
You got out?
okay. So you stabbed Kizuna Tomori while resisting without even knowing it.
When I looked at my hands in a brighter place, I saw blood. Actually, it was everywhere. It was on my clothes, and I went into a panic. I didn't look behind me. I didn't look back, I guess. I got into the power room and ran quickly to the bathroom to wipe off the blood.
So, that's what happened.
I was wiping it with water until the smell of blood was fully washed away, but then the announcement came out. I thought Kizuna was the one who I stabbed. So when we found her, my vision, everything went fuzzy. After that, when I went to the power room, there was a fire for some reason, and the switch room was all messed up.
Other than yourself, someone else came to the scene of the crime. And you really thought it was you who actually killed her.
That's not it. What happened was...
That's how the events are connected.
That's everything I know about the case. I never meant to stab Kizuna with evil intentions.
Whatever the reason, good or bad, once you look at the results, they are Akane Taira stabbed Kizuna Tomori. That's a fact. You can't change its meaning for whatever reason, what you might say.
But you said I wasn't the culprit.
Yeah, you just stabbed her, like I just said. There's another killer who caused the fire and the final blow. If the trial settles safely, it'll be the real criminal and not you who's going to be executed. So, your sins will be laid aside after the trial is over. Don't think you'll just get over it.
Wait a second. It was basically an accident, wasn't it? Besides, if Kizuna hadn't been stabbed, then Akane would have been the one who was dead.
That's right. Don't be so forceful. Akane herself is more distressed than anyone here. I'm sorry.
Hey, second to the fact that it was a crime or forced assault, the trial isn't over yet. Now that we know the details of the case, we need to find the true culprit. Let's not get excited just yet, children.
Fine, we can talk about that later, because the trial is the most important thing now.
I've unlocked another level of Tsurugi voice. I don't know how it happened. I guess going into that angry Tsurugi just brought it out of me. Akane, don't blame yourself too much. In the end, you survived, and for the most part, I think it's a better outcome that you lived. Isn't it important that you're alive?
Ayame, thank you.
Now then, let's reorganize this case based on Akane's new testimony. Kizuna tried to plan a killing a few days ago, and she called Akane to the switch room to play out her crime with her. Tried to kill Akane then after the process. But her plan failed. She died! This is the whole story of the case!
Hey, can you calm down? There's a lot of mental ferocity in there.
Now then, let's do a little summary. First, the number of people involved in this case are 3. One is the victim, Kizuna Tamori. The next person is a criminal who hasn't been identified yet. And the last is a third party, Akane Taira. Kizuna, who wanted to leave here as soon as possible, planned a murder, before even the motives had came out. Her rebellion was just an excuse for Tamori, and for the first time she attempted to make Akane join forces in her crime.
If Kizuna had worked with someone, it would have been easy for her to escape, but Akane refused, as expected. She tried to then get rid of her, the one who heard her plan. She could leave no traces behind.
However, her attack missed. In return, there was an accident where the knife ended up stabbing Kizuna while they were tangled up in the dark.
Akane was surprised that she stabbed her, and then she ran to the bathroom. But when she heard the announcement that the body was found, she went back to the power room, and there were things like the fire she hadn't even done, so Akane was probably most confused at the time.
So then, in the end, the killer made use of Akane's talent and put the blame on her in order to make us vote for her?
Yeah, there were 3 people involved, so the case was this complicated. By the way, no matter what's happened already, this would mean that she's really, really not the culprit of this case then, right? So, who is the culprit?
The true culprit! The true culprit's identity.
Ah! Satsuki, what is it? Did you figure something out? Nope. It's just amazing that Kurakawa is so active in participating in our conversations.
Are you serious?
I have to say, there are already hints about the real culprit.
What? Who?
Really? Who is it? In general, there's no one who doesn't have a noticeable alibi other than Akane. In other words, it's possible for anyone to have committed the crime. However, there's only one of us who has led all the situations to their advantage. Yes, and very precisely, I might add.
There's someone like that? Who on earth?
Surely it's not Akane.
There's someone who's taken advantage of the circumstances of the case with such ridiculous timing that it could be simply a coincidence at first glance. Think about it. The fire wasn't caused by Akane. Then obviously the real killer set that fire. But don't you think then there's something amiss? When you leave a fire, the corpse would be burned, and you don't know when it would be found.
But Ayame actually found it.
Yeah, Ayame found it. And because that's the case, the wire matters too. Even if you install the Wiretrap as bait for that burnt flashlight in the corner, there's a possibility no one would find it, and it could just sit there, right?
But it didn't, because...
Isn't something adding up in your head? What does the sighting between the fire and the wire have in common? If you think about it, you'll see the answer.
The person who led all the situations to their own advantage. The person who led the case so that they could solve it by their own accord. The only person in doubt. They're strong enough to instigate most of this incident. The first time they noticed the fire and the wire. No. Why? I have to stop thinking about that. The main thing is that they did this job. Okay. If you don't find out the truth, then we'll all die.
Oh, you know. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Whoops, I went the wrong way. Respect the status quo.
Like Tsurugi says, there's only one person, someone who can move all of these situations to their advantage. That person is Ayame. You!
What?
Now what are you...
Yuki, are you sleep deprived? The culprit was the one who hurt Ayame's leg. If Ayame's the culprit, why would she aim for herself? Nonsense. It'd be more reliable to say that I'm the one. It'd be more likely I'm the culprit, crazy.
That is quite true. Please, don't mess with me like that, Yuki. No matter what, Ayame being the culprit, it's... That's right. Tsurugi, don't just stand there, say something. Yuki, I think he's losing it.
No, that incompetent made a very precise point, and you don't agree? The culprit is Ayame Hitano. It must be.
I'm not exactly denying it, but I don't have a very clear picture of what you're all talking about. Can you at least clarify why it is you believe so?
It's because, well, a few reasons Ayame's the suspect. The true culprit of this case is not strange to any of us. The reason is because Akane pulled the ceremony of the
What? Oh my god, this is... interpret.
The reason is because Akane pulled...
I have no idea what this is supposed to say.
All of our alibis were also in the dark. There were contradictions no matter who you placed as the killer. However, that's why Ayame's actions are the way they were. Ayame's behavior is even more unnatural.
She's just sitting there.
What are you talking about?
The killer made an alibi trick by building a fire and finishing Kizuna herself, something which Akane couldn't do. Until here, everyone understands, right? Then, who was the first to discover the fire? What do you think? That was... Ayame.
But there's no way you can call someone a culprit just by that.
You shut up, sucking-head killer! It's not just that. Even though the corpse was found, the killer installed a wiretrap as if they were aiming for someone. And who was the person who discovered it?
That was also Ayame.
Let's think. At best, she made an alibi trick. She deceived us into thinking she had an alibi if someone else could find it first. There'd be too many dangerous variables. But when you set the fire, you can create the best situation that you want.
Are you referring to the situation where the criminal himself is putting off the fire with other people?
That's right. Because the original purpose of the killer's fire was to break the glass in the heat, it would make us think someone was trying to escape. If the killer was with other people in that situation, they would have their own alibi. Well, it's a crappy trick, so I didn't even doubt it from the beginning.
In addition, Ayame would have had enough time to install that wire. Listening to Akane's story, Kizuna had already brought all the tools. You could use them in the arms of... So you could take them from the arms of the dead Kizuna.
Then... No, but... Ayame... Well, there must be something wrong with that. I mean, it might be coincidence. Ayame being the culprit, just like that.
Why is the person who's picked up on this being silent while the others are babbling on? Hey, why are you being quiet? Are you exercising your right to remain silent? You think this is some sort of joke? It's just so absurd that you've left me speechless. I'm still standing here, and yet you're treating me as a criminal.
I mean, that isn't funny. Ayame, you can't be the culprit.
Oh, what's your objection then?
Of course. You just haven't seemed to realize it yet. I'll tell you why I can't be the killer. I don't know how much is left, and I'm going to do the post-trial and something else. We will do this next time. Can I pause? I guess I can just do this. That'll work. Just click off the game. Ooh. That was an episode. I like this case. I've heard a lot of people say this is the hardest trial in the game, which if so, because this feels kind of on par with a lot of the Straw 2 cases, right? Although, to be fair, I did have a little bit of advanced knowledge, because I did look into who the killers are, right? But I think regardless, at that moment, just the meta thing of the status quo, but at that moment when we looked at the bloodstains leaving the room, I think at that moment, I would have still come to the conclusion that Ayame has to be the killer. And just the fact she's acting weird this whole case, or this whole trial, you know. She's not being her usual self. But I do think it's clever. The idea of concealing your injury from the murder with, you know, pretending to get another injury or getting another injury. You gotta have some guts to pull that off, some bravado, you know. So I guess we'll finish this trial and do the post-trial next time. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe,
or else I'll come and get you.
I like Agro Tsurugi's voice, but I don't know. It's hard to get into it, you know.
What was I doing before? Something like this.
I like the idea that, like, as he gets more worked up, he gets more shouty. That just sounds right. I did want to say something about a comment on the last video, which I wanted to highlight. I should have... Well, I don't have my phone on me even. No! I'll just pin it. You know who you are who said this. I'm assuming you're going to watch this episode, but if you don't, then I guess I get off the work of having to pin it. They pointed out that Kakeru doesn't do a lot of leading in the trial, despite being the ultimate lawyer, which I do think is strange. Like, he should be, like, the voice of the people, you know? Whereas, like, Tsurugi and Rei are quiet. I feel like Kakeru should be the one who's leading us through this stuff instead of, you know, Tsurugi, which it mostly is. Especially in this case, where Tsurugi, you know, is having some problems with the rest of the group. I mean, I guess he does most in this case, because in the last one, we were still kind of, you know, buddy-buddy with him before seeing him, you know, get all excited about Higa being murdered. Oh well. So yeah, I guess we're going to lose Ayame. God damn it. I like that they made Akane kind of a killer. I'm sad that it's like a self-defense type thing. I think it'd be better if she was actually kind of, you know, doing it on purpose. But, oh well. What can you do? Alright, well, I'll see you guys next time. Leave a comment if you made it this far, and reply,
Tsurugi's emo voice.
We'll do that, sure. And I'll see you next time. Have a good night. Eat your dinner.